This is the Volvo Ocean Race, the story of a 45-year obsession. Sailing's iconic race around the world, the ultimate test of a team, and the place where elite sport meets human adventure. Achieving victory will mean dominating a 45,000 nautical mile race over 11 legs, taking in 12 host cities across 6 continents. 7 international teams are vying to add their name to the Volvo Ocean Race trophy. Newport, Rhode Island witnessed a nail-biting conclusion to Leg 8 when Mafre made an extraordinary comeback and outmanoeuvred Team Brunel within metres of the finish line. The surprise victory by the Spanish team put them back as race leaders, 3 points ahead of their arch-rivals, Dongfeng Race Team. Team Brunel remain in third, making the top of the leaderboard super tight. With time running out, everything is to play for.
I think the boat's going to get a beating. They're not going to give up, and neither are we.
If we want to have a chance still of winning, we have to beat the 2 red boats.
Right now, we're not in great shape.
Everything has to align perfectly to bust a record at this level.
Everyone's between 20 and 10 knots heading to the finish.
Allez, come on.
We need some wind.
Seems to be the way how the Volvo Ocean Race is going this year. The finishes are everything.
Leg 9 to Cardiff will be the final time double points are on offer and could be make or break for some of the teams.
Well, next transatlantic north can be as cold, as dangerous, as windy as the Southern Ocean.
It can be a very hard leg with lots of breeze, a really horrible sea state. It can be probably one of the coldest legs.
It's pretty short and intense. It's 3,000 miles and you could ride a big weather system and it could be feeling like a Southern Ocean leg, but for a short period of time.
Our win on the double point leg, of course, is something we dream about and will be hugely important. It's a tactical leg because it's going to be close racing. It's really boat to boat.
It's a challenging leg. It's a short leg, so if you start slow, there's not as much time to catch up.
The next one are going to be fast, are going to be more dynamic. That's the kind of leg I really enjoy. It's a very exciting one.
For Mafre and Dongfeng Race Team in particular, this leg would be pivotal in their bid to win the Volvo Ocean Race, both knowing that a top result could be the key to victory with just 3 legs remaining.
Winning the Volvo Ocean Race for us is a dream. It would be the first time for a Spanish team to win the Volvo, and I don't think being leading at this point is putting us any extra pressure, but as everyone knows, very strong teams around and it's not going to be easy.
We have no choice now. We have to attack on the next leg. We are in such a good position. I mean, we are second. We just need to beat Mafre. We don't need to beat Mafre and Mafre doing a bad leg. We just need to beat him on the next 3 legs and we will be ahead.
With such tight margins at the top of the standings, the fight was truly on. With an 8-point gap between third place Team Brunel and second on the overall leaderboard, a victory for the Dutch team was not out of the question.
It is a must-beat red boat scenario. We have to beat them both to keep a chance on the overall win, because otherwise the gap will get too big for the last 2 remaining legs. So that's our mission, to go full confidence into going to Cardiff.
Weather conditions were perfect as the boats slipped their moorings and were bid farewell by the huge crowds along the waterfront in Newport, Rhode Island.
It's the final ocean leg to cross. It's double points for leg 9, transatlantic, across the pond. It is all go to the UK and Cardiff, Wales. A clear start.
Coming up! Hold here! Oh, go back! Half off runner! Nice work, Luigi! Up, up, up!
What a scene! What a perfect start from all 7 boats.
This will be the last long leg of the race and where the fleet heads back to Europe. It's a 3,300 nautical mile transatlantic sprint to Cardiff in Wales. With many complex weather systems and the Gulf Stream to navigate, the leg would be far from easy, and within hours the fleet went from champagne sailing to being engulfed in fog.
We can't see a single thing around us. We can't see the other boats that are half a mile away.
Oh, it's foggy. Can't really see much. pretty tight. Double fans just in front of us. Mafre just behind.
Within 24 hours of the start, there was a split in the fleet. Turn the Tide on Plastic, followed by Dongfeng Race Team and Mafre, jibed northeast on a more direct route to Cardiff. By the hour, the boats in the south were getting further away.
We've jibed heading more northeast, and the rest of the guys are still going southeast. The concern at the moment is that we're in essentially slightly lighter breeze.
The Chinese team took the lead and were confident in their decision to break away.
We can find a different way to go to Cardiff, so it's not easy to choose. No special plan for us. The plan is to say well.
We always knew this is going to be an important leg, and you know, double points. Everyone's going to be pushing really hard. Now that we're in front, we just got to make sure we stay in front.
But the powerhouses of Dongfeng Race Team and Mafre both knew that splitting from the main fleet could be a risky move. Although they were together, Team Brunel were not, and were becoming a real threat.
Taking the southerly route, and the two red boats took the northerly route, so ideal scenario for us, because if the southerly route is paying off, that means that we beat the two red boats.
Massive split 24 hours into this leg. It's a little bit of a worry that Brunel's got separation from us. It's just one of those things, you've got to sail the wind you've got, and we've done that, and we'll have to just wait and see how it sort of plays out through this lighter transition.
But the group further south continued to benefit as they rode a ridge of high pressure and with more breeze than predicted. They delayed jibing north, the result a reversal of fortunes. Team Brunel shot into the lead. Overall race leaders Mafre knew the potential consequences.
Well, last night's been very tricky for three of us, to the Tide and especially Dongfeng and us. Very slow. The fleet in the south sailing with more than 20 knots all the time. They've done so much east that they start looking quite strong.
Team Brunel continued their lead, albeit slim, and lost some time trying to stay ahead whilst they repaired a damaged rudder at full speed.
Last night we hit something, and then in the daylight today we actually saw what the damage was to the rudder, and there was a massive chunk out of the leading edge. I just went over now. We're going upwind with quite a lot of heel, just to have a look to make sure structurally it's okay, and also just to try and fare in the damage that was done with some sandpaper.
Team Axon Abel and Vestas 11th Hour Racing were now in second and third spot.
We're still neck and neck with Vestas, just duking it out. Beautiful morning sunrise. I always think it's good to have a boat next to you. I think it keeps you honest, make sure you're hitting your numbers and make sure everyone's giving it everything.
After 4 days of racing, the group in the south were forced to alter their course because of a high pressure system in front of them.
We're making our way north. It's getting quite a bit colder. It's obviously pretty bumpy and quite windy. It's been 25 to 30 knots. We're sort of broad reaching. We're just trying to go real fast right now. Trying to maximize this wind while we have it before we hit the high pressure ridge that we're headed towards. So pushing hard.
Despite being at the back of the fleet, Sun Hunkai Scallywag was still optimistic about their position.
I'd certainly rather be where we are now than where Turn the Tides or Mafre are and Dongfeng. So for us it'll be sail as fast as we can on course for the next 36 hours. Don't have any mistakes, you know, keep it all together. We're used to being back here a bit, and plenty of times we've managed to come through. So as they say, there's plenty of golf left in this hole.
As all the teams converged just south of an ice exclusion zone, the southern group kept their upper hand. Just 30 miles separated the top three. The entire fleet were now in the same conditions that tested the true skill of the sailors as the breeze increased.
It's 30, 35 knots of winds. We're reaching with some big sail because we've got to go fast. I think Brunel's doing the same, so we are pushing it a little bit and it makes it quite full on. So we currently sitting in second in this leg, right after Brunel, which is, same story on the leaderboard, fighting for the podium. So they push really hard and go fast. We do the same. Right now I think we're 10 miles behind them. So it is going to be tight all the way to the finish, and I think it's going to be pushing hard, and I think the boat's going to get a beating the next few days because they're not going to give up, and neither are we.
It was now all about a straight line drag race in the North Atlantic.
3 meter, 2 meter, 1,
As average boat speeds went up and in the near perfect conditions, Team Brunel went into the history books. They had beaten the record of 550.8 nautical miles in the Volvo Ocean 65 class, set by Ian Walker's 2014-15 winning Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing.
The last 24 hours have been pretty intense, but a lot of breeze. Pretty good sea state, also a bit of current running with us, so it made it possible to get the record. We're pushing the boat well and we're doing it in the right direction, and hopefully with the speed that we've got in this kind of conditions that we'll be on the podium at the end of the race.
But within hours, Team Brunel were not the only ones. 5 of the 7 teams beat the old record, including Team Axonabel. The Dutch team not only shattered the 65 class, they surpassed the outright record set by the more powerful Volvo 70. The 596.6 miles achieved by Torben Grael's Ericsson 4 in the 2008-09 edition.
We just broke the 600 miles barrier in a day, in 24 hours, and really stoked for that. Last record in the Volvo Ocean race had been for my father, so now we have some things to talk on the dinner table. But yeah, super happy for the whole crew.
I would have bet the house you couldn't do 600 in one of these boats. Just isn't possible. Just so happy for the whole team. Really cool. Everything has to align perfectly to bust a record at this level, and to break it the size that we have is, you know it can be broken again, but it's going to stay for a while, I think.
The new figure of 602.5 miles was now the benchmark to beat. Leg 9 was already proving to be thrilling and unpredictable. Team Axonabel had set a new 24-hour distance record for the Volvo Ocean race, a huge 602.5 nautical miles. They had also now edged ahead of Team Brunel and into the lead. Despite the fast speeds of the entire fleet, overall race leaders Mafre were now more than 100 miles behind.
Right now we're not in great shape. The first 3 boats are extended quite a lot. Dongfeng not so far away. Turn the Tide not far away, but I think it's all to play for still. Just got to keep working hard, and again probably need a little bit of luck.
Mafre's arch rivals Dongfeng race team were also off the pace, but were hopeful of how the rest of the leg could play out.
Ahead of us a big light spot, and I hope a big compression. Unfortunately for the leader, there is a wall of no wind. I don't think someone will be able to cross it because he's moving with us.
And Cordrelia was right. The record-breaking conditions disappeared within 24 hours to be replaced with a lack of wind as the entire fleet approached a high-pressure ridge standing between them and the finish line in Cardiff. The leaders' hard-earned miles started to evaporate. Team Axonabel and Team Brunel were feeling the pressure.
All these boats are moving in behind us and getting closer. We can see Brunel again, but yeah, all expected, and we just keep on pushing through this ridge and then breeze on the other side.
Yeah, we're about 290 miles away from the finish. The good news is Axo is just the weather of us, 1.5 miles ahead of us, so we actually made a nice comeback. We're actually at one stage more than 12 miles ahead of us, but we clawed them back. Dongfeng and Mafra are behind us. If we want to have a chance still of winning, we have to beat the 2 red boats. It's looking not too bad. Of course, it will be nice to beat Axo. First of all, it's a Dutch boat, but I think more important is it's 3 extra points on the scorecard.
For the other chasing boats, the windless void was a welcome relief and a potential opportunity.
The change is so welcome right now. Never been so happy to be in 3 knots of wind.
We're here in the thick of the action in the ridge of high pressure. We've got Dongfeng just over here. We've closed them down from like 11 miles down to 2 and a bit, so it's all been pretty good work.
Navigator Simon Fisher has a wealth of offshore experience. This is his 5th Volvo Ocean race, and he was on board the winning boat in the last edition. He knows only too well how challenging this race is.
Winning the race in 2014-15 with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing was was amazing. As a navigator, you know, it's every guy's dream to win the Volvo Ocean Race. It's probably the biggest challenge in sailing out there. When I was younger, it was, yeah, really felt the pressure. Now I think, you know, with the experience of winning the race and, you know, just the experience you gather after doing this for so long, I think actually, you know, I still feel the pressure, and then, you know, the pressure to perform is always there. I think I actually enjoy it more. I enjoy the pressure a bit more, and you know, when you're not leading the race, you kind of look forward to things getting tricky in the end and looking for the opportunities. This race, I think it's been a really, really race. Physically, it's been really, really tough, and I guess mentally as well. The competition's always so close, and you know, everything's just so relentless. The competition every race gets better and better. The challenge never gets any less, really. And you know, on top of doing everything right on the race course, making all the right decisions, sailing fast, you need a little bit of luck as well. You know, we've seen teams in this race have good luck, and you know, equally we've seen teams have a bit of bad luck, and that can be the difference between fighting for the top of the leaderboard and somewhere being in the middle of the fleet.
By now, the leaders had escaped the high pressure that had hampered their progress towards Cardiff. They were sailing upwind in a favourable breeze, and Team Brunel had slipped back into the lead. At the back of the fleet, the trailing boats were still stuck with no wind.
Unfortunately, the guys are a little bit too far ahead, and I don't know if we can catch them, but we're going to try. There's always opportunities in this race, and we've got to keep Scallywag firmly behind, because they've got the only other Welsh sailor on board, and we need Bledin to come in before them.
Sunhunkai Scallywag was still trapped in the high pressure, struggling to escape.
214 miles behind. Imagine what the next skid's going to be like. Hey?
Leg over. Everyone's between 20 and 10 knots heading to the finish. We're 3 knots. Not even pointing near the finish. Unbelievable. Got a laugh, haven't you?
As the leading 3 boats entered the Bristol Channel, just 10 miles separated them. The 2 Dutch teams were at the front in a duel, on their way to the finish line, but the conditions were far from ideal.
We still have 10 knots of breeze, and the current is pretty slack right now, and probably in an hour, 1.5 hours, it's going to run 4 knots against us. So I think when the breeze starts dropping and we're going to get 4 knots of current against it, then the tension will be up, because it seems to be the way how the Volvo Ocean Race is going this year. The finishes are everything.
For Bauer Becking and his team, the pressure was intense. Would his fellow countryman, Simeon Teampoint, heading up Team Axonabel, spoil his party in the last few hours? On board 3rd place Dongfeng race team, slowly but surely they realised they were unlikely to catch the leaders.
Et ils avancent là? Ils ont 20 nœuds de vent?
Il y a une heure, on avait 17 nœuds.
How far up are they?
18 miles, 20 knots of wind. Allez, come on, we need some wind.
Skipper Charles Cordrelia's mindset quickly changed from the hunter to the hunted.
Normally the wind is going to drop, and then it will be in a...
Brunel will be...
but I don't know, you think...
Second overall.
Huh?
Brunel will be second overall.
We have to stay a bit ahead of Mafre. Huh?
Huh?
We have to stay ahead of Mafre. Mafre is going to try something.
Rivals and overall race leaders Mafre also knew their chances of a podium had slipped away. Coming into the leg, both teams were determined to gain as much of an advantage as possible. It had not gone to plan.
We're sitting in 5th. Vest is not far away in 4th, so we're obviously doing everything we can to try to catch them. Probably pretty unlikely we're going to catch them, but every point counts. It just means the last 2 shorter inshore type legs are going to be all on.
In the last 20 miles to the finish line, both Team Brunel and Team Axonabel traded places at the head of the fleet, at times dead equal.
We're moving pretty well here. We're doing 2.5 over ground.
Just pull the furling line the other way. Good boy.
Got a bit of angle out here, if nothing else.
But it was Bauer Becking's team who managed to edge over the finish line by just a slim margin, their second podium finish. Becking knew that this last double points win was critical for his campaign.
Of course, really happy with the result. Beating the two red boats, that was the main objective. Winning, of course, is nice, the double pointer and the bonus point. And then, I think just ecstatic, of course, with a nice fight to beat Axo in the end as well. So a very happy team.
After more than 3,000 nautical miles, Team Axo Nobel were just 4 minutes behind. For Simeon Team Point's team, it was almost the perfect leg. A new 24-hour distance record and a second place.
We wanted to have a podium, and then the extra bonus was that we really showed to the world that we can make these boats go the fastest. A lot to be proud of, and there's still 2 legs to come.
Dongfeng Race Team managed to maintain their third position and hold off the chasing boats, and more importantly, Mafre. It meant they went into the overall lead by just 1 point.
Yes, it's nice, but it's a very short lead, and very short lead to Mafre, but also now to Brunel, which is doing a fantastic comeback.
Mid-fleet and in 4th spot with Vestas 11th Hour Racing. It was their worst finish in the race so far. 5th and 6th were Mafre and Turn the Tide on Plastic respectively. Xavi Fernandez's team had a hugely disappointing leg when it was so important for their bid to become the first ever Spanish team to win the race.
Not an easy leg for us. It's been painful from day one basically, and we never could catch up. But it's not much more we could do, and of course we'll fight it all the way to the end.
Dee Kafari had personally now completed her 5th time around the globe, but some of her crew were celebrating their first lap. David Witt, Sun Hung Kai Scallywag were the final team to cross the finish line, a day behind the leaders. Dongfeng Race Team now lead the race, just 1 point clear of Mafre, who had slipped back into second. And after Team Brunel's double point win into Cardiff, they were now a serious threat and a real contender for the overall race win. After nearly 8 months of racing, just 3 points separated the top 3 teams. Next up, and it's the penultimate leg of the race. It's a 1,300-mile sprint as the fleet leaves Wales, goes west around Ireland and over the top of Scotland. It's then through the North Sea before heading to the finish line in Gothenburg. It will be the shortest leg so far, but potentially the most important of the entire race, and far from easy.